don't think I've ever done before.
In this week's show, Nigel rescues a mother duck and her ducklings from an apartment block. Lisa meets the volunteers and house guests at Animal Aid. Dr. Kevin has a very sick King Charles Cavalier spaniel at Vets on Parker. But first, Julija and Flick show us how to perform nose targeting.
And welcome to Flick's Tricks training segment. I'm Julija and this is my beautiful Border Collie Flick. A little bit of training can go a long way for your dog's mental well-being. The trick we're about to cover is one that can be used to train lots of other skills. Nose targeting is where your dog touches a given item with its nose. The target might be a wooden spoon. You could go to your desk and grab a pen. Simply use a pen for it. We've got a jar lid or a little mini frisbee. Today we're going to be using the Star Fairy wand. Before you get started, you'll need to make sure you've got a few things ready. Have a whole heap of tiny treats cut up and readily accessible. And if you're using a clicker, make sure you've got that. If you don't, the word yes will work just as well. Also make sure that you've chosen your target stick. If you don't have your target stick, it's okay. You can just use the open palm of your hand. My criteria for this skill is for the dog to move to, reach, and touch the target stick with its nose, upon which you'll click and reward. You may or may choose not to use a verbal cue for this exercise, as the presence of the target stick will prompt your dog to do the trick. Any dog's able to perform this skill, from wee little puppies through to older adult dogs. I'd like to welcome my rookie dogs. We've got Kaya with Jex and Emily with Melody. So we're going to be doing some nose target training, getting our dogs to touch their nose to these target sticks. To start off, when you present the target item to your dog for the very first time, they'll probably go, "Hey, what's that?" and put their nose right up to it. So getting ready, you've got your clicker, or you can use the word yes if you don't have your clicker, and your treats ready to go in the other hand. So I like to load myself up, treats in one hand, target stick and clicker in the other. As I present the target, my dog goes, "Oh wow, what's that?" Touch their nose to it, and I get ready to click right on that instant and give a treat. So one touch equals one piece of food.
Animal Rescue, Nigel speaking.
Animal Rescue, Nigel speaking.
Animal Rescue, Nigel speaking. Another common rescue we deal with is duck and ducklings. People wake up in the morning and find 12 little ducklings on their swimming pool. In this case, we're down to 4 ducklings, so they may have lost a few on the way before they've got here, but as I say, it's a very common rescue we deal with. These little fellas have been trapped in this area. They're unable to get out of here. Oh, Mum's going to attack me. Well, I might end up just capturing her by hand, which I don't think I've ever done before. I know. Come on, Mum. Which way are you going to go? I gotcha! Now, I don't think in all my years that I've actually been able to do that and capturing a mother duck by hand without a net. That is very unusual. She's a very good mother. She's being very protective over her young, that she was prepared to attack me. So we'll get her into a box and we'll round up the little fellas and we'll get them out into a suitable area. Okay, come here, gotcha. Oh, we're on the run now. 2 more to go. Ah, now we've got you, you can't go anywhere. Oh, there we go. 4 little fellas. It's very sad because mother ducks probably lost about 8 of these little guys so far because they always start off with 12. So falls are a common figure that we get, which is very sad. They fall down gutters and drains and they get themselves caught in all sorts of situations. Now, we transport these little guys separately from mum because if I was to put them in with mum, by the time we get to our destination, they'd all be dead, as mother will stand on top of them. So we pop them into this little box and we put the 2 boxes together nice and close so mum can hear them and they can hear mum, and it'll only be a short 10-minute trip until we get them released. Okay, little fellas, out you hop. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we get mum, come here, and we just hold mum in front so she can see her babies, and off you go. And they all swim off happily together.
This is Millie. Millie is an 8-year-old Cavalier King Charles spaniel that's been brought to see me today because the owner has noticed her coughing. Millie has recently come out of boarding kennels, so the owner thinks it's probably just kennel cough. What I need to do is have a listen to her chest, have a listen to her heart to determine exactly what's going on. Hey Millie, let's pop this on. It's going to be a little bit cold. Oh. Good girl. That is concerning. Millie unfortunately has a heart murmur, and it's quite a bad one. As a veterinarian, we grade heart murmurs out of 6. Grade 1 being only a very mild murmur, and a grade 6 murmur being very serious. On the scale, Millie's is about a 4. Now, a lot of dogs can have heart murmurs, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's causing a serious problem at the moment. There are other causes for dogs to cough. They can have things like bronchitis, and in small dogs in particular, they can have something where the trachea or the windpipe can collapse on itself. We call that collapsing trachea or dynamic airway disease. As Millie's veterinarian, for me to determine the exact cause of her cough, what we're going to need to do is take a chest x-ray. What that chest x-ray is going to be able to do is it's going to be able to tell us what the size of her heart is. In dogs that have a heart murmur, and if that heart murmur is causing some serious problems, Millie's heart is going to be bigger than it should be. In addition, what we can also do is ultrasound her heart. Heart murmurs are generally caused by a valve inside the heart. In Cavaliers, it's generally the mitral valve, and what happens is it kind of clumps together and it starts leaking. And that's what a heart murmur is. We actually start hearing turbulent blood. With an ultrasound, what we're able to do is actually visualise those valves and determine the extent of the problem. Hey Millie, you ready for an x-ray?
Today we're here at Animal Aid to find out the work that goes into running a shelter. Now these guys cater for around 6,000 animals a year, so I'm guessing we're going to have our hands full. Come on, let's go. Animal Aid has been caring for animals for over 66 years, now with 3 shelters across Victoria. Deborah Boland is taking us behind the scenes at their largest shelter in Coldstream. Hi Deborah.
Hi Lisa, welcome to Animal Aid.
Thank you. You guys are flat out busy and it's a weekend.
It never stops here at Animal Aid, 365 days a year.
That's awesome. And you're going to show us around your facilities today. You're not just a shelter. What else have you guys got to offer?
Yeah, that's right. We like to think we take a holistic approach to looking after pets and people.
Yep.
Because we always have the two go hand in hand. So
yes.
We have boarding facilities where people can have their pets stay when they go on holidays.
Great.
We also have vet clinic and we also have behavioural services as well.
Great, all encompassing.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, I can't wait to take a look. Last year, Animal Aid rescued 4,500 animals, reuniting them with their owners or rehoming them with a new family. The dog welfare kennels house dogs that are ready and waiting for adoption, as well as those undergoing health checks and training.
Most of the
them are, I suppose, owner surrenders. So that's when an owner can't look after their animal anymore. So they bring them to us to find them a new home. Okay. But we also get a lot of strays through the council, and we also get unclaimed animals from regional councils transferred here to Coldstream.
Right. Is that because you keep them for a longer period of time, or is it?
Some councils still only operate on a pound-only basis, so that means there's no rehoming attached to their pound contract. So then we offer to take those animals to make sure that they get a chance to find a home, because they deserve it.
Otherwise they're euthanized.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Which should not be happening anymore. So we're working really hard to make sure that doesn't have to happen.
And as far as time that they spend here, it could be up to, 3 weeks, a month, a bit more?
I think with dogs we do pretty well. It's between 2 to 3 weeks we can turn, it sounds that's awful, but turn a dog around from being unwanted to cherished by a new family.
Being loved. That's quite a long period of time though, in terms of how much it costs to own a dog.
I think there is a bit of misconception about how much it does cost us, and it costs us between $500 and $600 to put a dog through all of the temperament and behaviour assessments, feed them, clean them, worm them, flea them, desex them, and get them ready for a new home. And absolutely microchip them.
Yeah, wow. Wowee. Hello you. Won't take long to rehome this one. Hi. So cute. Jack Russells, Labradors and Kelpies are some of the most common breeds to come through the shelter. But topping the list by a long shot is the Staffy. In the past 12 months, Animal Aid has taken in over 400, some of them being repeat cases.
They can often suffer from what's called separation anxiety. So they can be very good at getting out when mum and dad go out to work for the day. So
they look like such tough little soldiers though. You wouldn't think they'd be so wimpy.
They are, that's the thing. So they're very attached to people and they bond very strongly with their owners. So much to the point that sometimes when they just can't bear to be without them. So they end up jumping over the fence and ending up in the pound, like this little naughty girl.
If you think one of these precious souls could fit in with your lifestyle and family, Animal Aid would love for you to visit, and so would the residents.
You guys want to give that a shot with your dogs. You've got your target sticks there. Have one hand ready with that food. And if you don't have the clicker, you can just say yes, it works just as well. If your dog isn't quite interested in that target stick, what you can do, instead of presenting it this way to the dog and scaring them, present it from underneath and you do all the hard work. So you're moving the target stick all the way to touch the dog's nose. And after a few repetitions of you doing all the hard work, your dog starts to think, hey, if I touch that target stick, I'll probably get some treats. If you want to try speeding it up a little bit with your dogs, as the dog touches, present the treat right in front of that target stick. So don't use the treat first behind it, okay, because that's a lure. What you want is the dog to do the behaviour first and then present the treat right in front of that target stick. This is one skill I don't usually put a verbal cue to. When my dog sees the target stick, they race to and touch it. They see it as an opportunity of reinforcement. Once your dog is keenly touching its nose to your chosen target stick, you could try using it to teach other skills. So instead of using a piece of food to lure your dog to perform a skill, you could use your target stick instead. So we could even try dancing up on their back legs. Get it? Yes, good girl. Or maybe even weaving through the legs. Yes. Yes, good girlie. So now you can weave the Magic Star wand and get your dog to nose target. A really fun, easy trick to teach your dog that can be used to almost any time, anywhere. Happy training.
Millie's x-rays unfortunately do not portray a very good picture. Her heart is about twice the size it should be. Her heart is this big here. This is her cardiac silhouette. And in a normal dog, it probably should be about this size here. So there is significant enlargement of our heart, and a portion of that is what we call her left atrium. So that's the portion of the heart in dogs with heart disease, like Millie's, that gets very, very large. As you can see, her trachea here, which is this black tube, is up near her spine. In a normal dog, this black tube should be sitting just on top of her heart and should be tracing down in her chest like this. That's one of the reasons why she's coughing, because her heart, being twice as big as it should be, is putting direct pressure on her windpipe. The other reason is she has developed something called pulmonary edema. Pulmonary edema is essentially fluid buildup in and around her lungs, and it's up through this region here. I can give her some medication which is going to make her a lot more comfortable and take away that fluid. So that's good news for Millie. What's not good news is that I can't fix her heart. The heart murmur is leading to this devastating condition, and although I can give her medication to alleviate her signs and make her more comfortable and get her heart working more effectively, I can't actually fix the damaged valves. What I would like to do with Millie while she's in my care is also place an ultrasound probe on her chest to determine the extent of the valve damage. Although that may not necessarily change the treatment plan for her, it's certainly going to give me a much better understanding of how bad the damage is, and also it's also going to be able to give me a better understanding of her prognosis. Obviously what I'm going to do now is give the owners a call and inform them of what's going on. I wish it was as simple as kennel cough, but it looks as though Millie has a very, very serious heart condition that is unfortunately all too common in Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, as well as other small breeds like poodles. So I'm going to give her the medication which is going to take the fluid out of her chest now. I'm going to get her rested in the hospital. I'll give the owners a call and then we'll set up for the ultrasound. Good girl, Millie. Millie's lying here for an echocardiogram or a heart ultrasound, and on viewing the images, every single chamber inside her heart is a lot bigger than it should be, or they're dilated. In addition, her mitral valve, which is on the left side of her heart, is incompetent, or it's not working properly, and blood is flowing actually in the wrong direction. Blood is flowing back into her left atrium and putting pressure on her lungs, which is in turn leading to the pulmonary edema, which we can see on her X-ray. Now, as mentioned before, I can alleviate that pulmonary edema by giving her some medication, and that is going to make her a little bit more comfortable than she is at the moment. It's going to allow her to breathe deeper and oxygenate her tissues more. Unfortunately, I can't fix her leaking valve. If you or I had this problem, we would have a new valve or a mechanical valve placed instead of the mitral valve, but veterinary medicine and surgery isn't quite there yet. Instead, we're going to need to manage Millie's condition by placing her on some medication, which is going to get the heart working a little better, a little more efficiently, so more blood flows in the right direction and less blood regurgitates or goes backwards. However, with her X-ray, knowing the size of her heart, visualising the damage that's occurred to her mitral valves, the prognosis for Millie is incredibly poor. Even with medication, it may only be that she has another few months of good quality life ahead of her. And that's something that we need to be very, very in tune with. When we're medicating older dogs with painful conditions or for conditions that affect them seriously like heart disease, we need to be very in tune with their quality of life. I hope that with the medication she becomes brighter, she's happier, she breathes more comfortably, and however long we have left with her, she is happy for that period. But in some stages we do need to make tough decisions. Cavaliers unfortunately develop this condition far too commonly. She has a condition called mitral valve endocardiosis, which has led to congestive heart failure. This is a genetic or congenital issue that we see in Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. Commonly they start developing heart murmurs at the age of 4 or 5, and they can be very, very sick soon after the development of those murmurs. What I encourage all owners to do is that if your dog is coughing, don't necessarily assume it is just a kennel cough, particularly if they're just coming out of a boarding kennel. If your dog has a heart murmur and they're coughing, getting on top of it sooner rather than later makes a significant difference in regards to treating the condition. But poor Millie here will certainly make her feel a whole lot better with the treatment, but it's very, very sad news.
We receive around 900 kittens
wow.
every year, and we really need to work hard on getting that desexing message out there, because this is a huge juggling act that we have to go through every year, trying to make sure as many of these little guys get homes as possible. Kittens, again, will move faster, so that will have an impact on the cost of rehoming them. But with the adult cats, where dogs take 2 to 3 weeks, cats can take 2 to 3 months.
Right.
So it is actually a much bigger drain on our actual caring for them, feeding them, those sorts of things.
And do you suppose that they take so much longer because they are less friendly? I know I'm being biased towards dogs, but cats tend to be less social than dogs, don't
Well,
they?
and particularly in this environment, they find it very confronting. They can tend to withdraw, which doesn't make them very attractive to people. And when we're in the main cattery, you'll see the youngsters running around and everything. They're very engaging, but we do have individuals that will just sit and sit because they just won't even come out of their pens.
Last year, Animal Aid provided accommodation for over 2,000 cats. That's almost 40 coming through each week. Alarmingly, a quarter of these were put to sleep. Volunteers like Chris Stitt help to give these cats the best chance at finding a new home.
So I work here as a volunteer and work on socialising the cats and getting them ready for adoption.
Great. How many days a week do you do that?
I work 1 day a week, but it just depends. Some people work 2 or 3, so yeah, usually 1 day a week.
Great. And what's your role? You play with them, pat them?
Yes.
All the fun stuff?
All the good things, as well as feeding, changing the litter trays, so looking after their welfare that way, but also working with any animals that might be feeling stress or anxious, work with those cats to help them get ready and prepare them for adoption.
And is it sort of a happy sad when they do get adopted? Do you get attached to any of them?
Definitely get attached to them, because they all have their own personalities, and you certainly get attached to certain cats. But while it's sad to say goodbye, it's also good for them to go off and find a nice family to live with.
Do you have cats at home?
No, I've always had cats, but before I got married, because my wife's allergic to cats.
No!
Yes,
Oh,
so
no.
I come here for my cat fix
Goodness.
every week.
And then go home and scrub down completely?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Goodness me.
For tricky cases, animal behavioural specialist Tim Munro steps in. Tim helps to calm the cats by using a method called Tellington Touch, or T-Touch for short.
From what I know, when Lockie starts to have touch and contact, he really does kind of nervously contract and tighten up.
By moving the skin in a light circular motion, T-Touch activates the nervous system and helps the stressed or anxious cats to relax and be present at the same time.
So there's a lot of pressure points through the ear. It's a great one that helps with changing blood pressure, and that's a big one that's involved with stress. There's no harm in just learning how to do some of these different touches that may help them feel a bit different in their own body and potentially feel safe. The reason I do this stuff is to be able to see them become more confident and happy, and then hopefully more of them get rehomed and less of them are stuck in the cages here.
Wow, that's the goal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you'd like to volunteer at any of the Animal Aid branches, you'll find contact information on their website.